Hello and welcome to CQRA Podcasts. This is Shruti Khairnar, and today we're going to speak about data centers in CQRA Podcasts. And our guest today is Mr. Rajkumar Jogdankar. He's the head of quality at Adani Connects. Welcome, sir. Welcome to CQRA Podcasts. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Just a short introduction so that our viewers know a little more about you. Mr. Jogdankar is an engineer with over 20 years of experience in the construction field. Expertise in data center, total quality management, quality assurance, and quality control are all his forte. He is a result-oriented quality leader in establishing, developing, and implementing quality strategies at the organizational level to ensure product and services quality. So it's great to have about what all your data centers are all about. So the Adani Connects data center in Chennai has been awarded the Quality Conformance Certificate by CQRA, and it is in the very good category as per the industry standards established by CQRA. So can you tell us a little bit more about this particular project and what is so special that it has kind of got the certification?
Yeah, sure. So before touching this particular question, I would like to thank CQRA and giving this is really privilege for me that coming here all the way and discussing about my contribution in data center quality aspect. Even earlier to that, I was in real estate, and thank you for that introduction. But I would say that quality is more of a compliance and like exceeding the expectations. And I'm really proud to select this profession so that I can contribute and change the entire ecosystem. So thank you so much again, CQRA and Mr. Ujwal and entire team, that you guys felt that I'm one of the member who can contribute and help other people who are aware or sensitized towards the quality and the excellence part. Even the people, this is definitely going to helpful for the new people, like new generation who recently passed out from their colleges, and they will obviously, because in quality it is nowhere taught in engineering subject, and obviously I'm going to touch upon that. Coming back to the question on the Chennai data center, so I'll just give you the background first. I'll start with the introduction of our Adani Connects, what Adani Connects and what exactly we do. So Adani Connects is a 50-50 joint venture of Adani Enterprise Limited and H Connects, which is US based organization. And you know that Adani is they have a expertise, and they are giant organization to deal with land parcel and government policies and many other compliances on the governance part. So leveraging that expertise of Adani Enterprise Limited, so H Connects decided to get partnered with us in India for developing the data center. So talking about the H Connects, they are actually having a 3 decades of expertise in data center. Specifically, they catered and delivered a data center for hyperscaler customer. I will not able to I will not disclose their name, but the hyperscaler customers, those are giant and multinational companies who are into protecting and preserving our day-to-day data, whether it is individual people's data or e-commerce data or any other sensitive data which is linked with the defense and government policies. So they delivered a lot of projects in EME region and North America, and same thing they are expanding in APAC region. And proud to say that they have chosen Adani is one of their strategy partner or business partner in India, because India being a data center, going to be a data center hub. So I think we are going to leverage their expertise in data center. So this is about Adani Connects as a overall how we are actually engaged and how we are driving the data center projects across the India. And we are here almost like 3.5 years in this industry, specifically talk about. Yeah. So, touching about the Chennai project, it's a first and foremost project for Adani Connects. So that project is spreaded in six acres, and it was meant for 17 megawatt. And right now we have delivered 5 megawatt for one of the again e-commerce organization, and which is completely live. There are balance megawatt which is under development, and we are looking or seeking support from all colo organization who can come and see our facility, and they can also take a decision that their data center, their servers and rack can be placed in our Chennai premises.
I see. So
Yeah.
that's quite a large spread out project.
Yeah.
Probably one of its kind in the country.
No, there are many players who are already doing it and have been doing it so far. When we started joint venture with HConnex, and this is our first project, and obviously this project which we did in PEB, like pre-engineered building, so that is one first of kind because nobody did in data center, because precast technology and PEB technology adopting and implementing, that is something like Adani Connex has had taken a challenge that how we can actually reduce the timeline by adopting and implementing the technology aspect. So, but I want to feel one gap, like generally or most of the time people misunderstand what we do. So when we use that terminology called as a data center, so most of the people, including our parents and our near and dear ones, they feel that we are from IT sectors. So so to be very honest, we are not from the IT sectors. We are catering to the IT sectors, and what we are into is data center projects. So when I talk about the projects, it's more of a construction, right from the selection of the land, then we do the construction, civil, structural, architectural works, and the huge efforts goes, or more of electromechanical works is very important or vital in the data center. So when I say electromechanical is nothing but, in our layman or the people who are familiar with the construction industry, it's called as a MEPF, mechanical, electrical, plumbing and firefighting system. How these services are integrated, and those services integration is actually going to be a deciding factor for data center making server live. If it is not tested and commissioned, we are not able to start the data center, or that racks or server is not going to be live as far as the data preservation and saving.
So it's a very specific kind of building typology where you have to pay attention to, like you said, the MEDF.
Yes.
Factors. And you also mentioned that now India is going to be a major hub for data centers. So it's like a sort of a right playground for this sort of construction activity to happen. So can we see more of these projects coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, there is a need of our from the end users, and who are those end users? Like that hyperscaler customers, and it is known to everyone. Like majority of the data is been captured by the Google, Microsoft. There are like banking sectors,
The big data.
yeah, Amazon. So all these companies and the big sectors like banking and even government sectors, like they have their own data to preserve, right, and retain.
Yes.
So these sectors are looking for their own servers, and to have their own server, it requires a asset, capex and apex. So what happens, how to eliminate that capex and apex, and how we can have a dedicated preservation or dedicated infrastructure which can be catered by the expertise. So that is where our role comes in picture, and then the data center or servers is been stored in particular location, whether it is at multi-story or typical ground story. So that is what it happens. I'll just give you as a layman, the people who do not understand the data center per se. It's more of infrastructure which has to be accommodated by human being. Okay, any infrastructure. Let's say today we are sitting here. There is a wall, there is a glass, there is ceiling, there is a cooling system, there is light. Right? If one of the aspect is missing, let's say we are talking and there is no wall, so this
Right.
there will be a noise disturbance. Now there is no AC, we feel that there is a sweating, and even there is a AC and there is no light. So if one of the aspects also missing, you are not able to occupy this space, right? So same goes with the data center. Its only difference is that those are not human beings, those are servers, and server requires continuous cooling. And if at all that consistent cooling is not there, server will try to break down. And same with the power, because server to operate it requires power, and that power is obviously supplied by the grid, and there is substation and many other aspect comes in picture. So if there is no continuous power, it will try to get down and completely break down, and then there will be a downtime and we may face a lot of challenges. So that's the reason I said that the electromechanical aspect, it's very important in the data center, and that is a driving force in data center, specifically India.
Listening to you talk about data centers, you're obviously an expert in this area, and you have over the years honed your expertise in this subject knowledge of data centers, critical testing, and commissioning requirements. So you've just spoken about what is special about this typology, but what can we see in the future? Because what we have read is that data centers are also going to shrink. Probably the machines are going to get smaller, and requirements may change with artificial intelligence or things like that. So how are you kind of also preparing for the future, and how does quality also kind of play out in this?
Very good point. I think today the way AI and ML is running, or there is a lot of demand from their side. So any server, I think you might have seen in any institutional building or IT building or corporate building, there is a small space for the servers, right? And those servers is having very restricted access, and that has a continuous cooling and power. So same in data center, when we have an infrastructure, it's meant for thousands of racks and their infrastructure. Now when we say the racks, so racks is it's a assembly where you will find there is a cassette, and a lot of time there is people talk about like my data is saved on cloud. Okay.
Right.
So that cloud is nothing but that cassette which carries your data, okay, or individual company's data, or any organization's data. So that cassette and that chip, and to cater that chip, you have to have a racks.
So
And
at
how
some level it is physical, or
Yes.
talk about the cloud somewhere up there, in terms of data. But this data center is actually the physical manifestation of
Yes,
that,
yes.
infra.
Yes, very much. And see what happens now, you have a racks, and now there is a density of the rack, right? And how we can optimize that density of the rack so that you can utilize more and more space, because it's not only about rack. To power up, you required lot of LV, like low voltage and medium voltage switch gears. For cooling, you required giant equipments like chillers, fan wall unit. If you look at those giant equipment, you will feel that, oh my god, this such a giant equipment is feeding to such a huge cooling requirement. So coming to the AI, now people are looking at how we can optimize the rack density. That is one, because that is linked with the business. Second is power utilization, because I have a power, but how smartly I'm utilizing the power, that is more important. And that is a deciding factor, like one of your colleague what he said, like how the sustainability aspect, ESG aspect is coming now in India. So this is also one of the ESG aspect, because without power utilization, if you have a there is a limit in the power utilization. Right now in India we are like coming around for 1.56, but when it comes to Europe, it is coming around 1.2 and something. So that delta, it is actually impacting the direct cost on that organization as well as India, because India has to bear that cost directly or indirectly. So that is something like on the ESG part, as well as the tangible and intangible benefit organization, that is also helping. So this is about the AI and ML, and there is one more good thing which is under discussion. Happy to disclose with you guys, and you must have also heard like people are talking about district cooling, right? District cooling, like how we have a CNG gas which is feeding to individual houses. So similarly, district cooling is, there is a thought process that how we can have a central or district cooling system which can cater to individual homes, and that can cater, you don't have to actually have a indoor and outdoor unit. It can directly the cooling can be done directly through that system. Same way here in data center, we are looking for a liquid cooling, how we can save the water which goes for air cooled chiller. It's a huge requirement for, and now there is a lot of scarcities, particularly northern region. There are certain part of the city where they are actually having a scarcity of the water. So how we can preserve those water with this liquid cooling, that is also one of the aspect which the technological expert and the industry expert they are exploring, but that is still under discussion, which is not has come up yet.
But that's a very interesting thing because it will also probably tackle the urban heat island effect and things like that.
Yes.
Since, environment is a very important aspect.
Yes.
Of, even sort of understanding and following quality in that
Correct.
sense. Just taking the discussion a little away from data centers to also general real estate, residential, commercial kind of, or infrastructure construction. So, what is the difference when you talk about quality QA/QC in terms of data centers versus real estate or other constructions?
Right. So first of all, I want to like touch upon the QA/QC part has to be there, but now people has to think beyond that as well, because now we are living in industry 4.0, which is more of a digitalization technology aspect. If we follow the still conventional way of quality assurance and control, then we will be nowhere in this industry. So the total quality management, the quality excellence part, the digitalization in quality, this really matters. And now I request all the industry players and the veteran who are into the industry, whether it is real estate or oil and gas or any industry for that matter, they should adopt themselves with the industry 4.0. So same way we have adopted in data center. So here I would like to thank to our senior management, specifically our CEO, that to who has a vision how safety and quality can be seen as a paramount, and it has to be line function. It is not like only senior management talking about quality and nobody is following on the ground. So it is more of a top to bottom and bottom to bottom up approach. So this actually helped Adani Connects a lot, and we take pride in that, because the repeat order what we are getting from the customer is because of the demonstration of the safety and quality on the ground. And coming to the quality as a differentiator, see, first and foremost, what we did, we have introduced the Business Quality Council, which is chaired by our CEO, and there are 5 task forces whose focus. So task forces is nothing but the cross-functional team, which is again strategic reference from the Six Sigma and business excellence part. So this task force is having a cross-functional team, and they sit together, they do the brainstorming, and there are certain key business factors which is identified at the beginning of this business unit setup and the financial or beginning of the financial year. So we have a strategy action plan session where we decide, okay, on the quality aspect, what we need to do better, or what existing practices can be carried forwarded, or what is that we need to drop certain practices and bring new practices in picture. So this is one of the thing, and it's impossible that only it is limited to functions, because everyone has to contribute to the quality and they have to drive that. Then only it will become a line function. Otherwise it will be more of a quality functions baby that they need to handle. So in all these 5 task forces, everyone has given the improvement projects, and those are measurable. So here, and then this task forces is having a weekly review, and our chairperson, CEO, he also reviews monthly basis, so that how we are progressing on that, and we get a direction and feedback from them, and then we drive it. So one of the initiative, I will not able to cover all the task force initiatives, but one of the best initiatives what our management has advised us to drive is how we can bring AI into quality,
That's interesting.
how we can bring machine learning in quality. So we have taken a no-code platform which is meant for our quality real-time monitoring, and there are certain inspection what in the COVID period which was not possible to go to China and conduct that factory witness test. So with the help of the digital camera, it was set in a factory, and we got connected virtually here from India. And it is so precise that we never felt that we are actually witnessing that product from India. So precise. Each and every high resolution camera connected, and we can see each and every part, and that is very much visible. Second thing is about the project monitoring. We have a 360-degree camera. So there is an agency who comes weekly basis. So we gave them our floor plan. So he has to go to that places. Whatever the stage of the project is, he has to go there and he has to capture that. And those images captured on the platform, and you can literally view that images or locations and activity in 360-degree, and you can easily find is there any defect in that or not from that quality point of view. But the same system is benefiting our project management team, so that they can compare what was done 1 week back and what was completed this week, and what is that something which we need to deliver in week look ahead plan. So that is something helping us.
Should even kind of be on top of the game
Yeah,
using AI.
yes, it's really helping. This camera also, like what we decided again with the help of our partner HConnex, there is a camera called as a Reco 360-degree. So majority of the time, quality team, they have a challenges that they can't access confined space.
Right.
So it is, if any individual wants to go there and see physically, it will definitely have some safety challenges. So this camera helps to understand what exactly had happened in that confined space, whether that activity is carried out by the contractor or the vendor properly or not. So which we can easily find and immediately ask them to do the rework, if at all, if it is deviated by any chance. And there are a lot of lesson learned. There are a lot of in ongoing processes which we mapped in the digital platform.
That's really great, all these new technologies that you mentioned. And this is, I guess, the way forward. We are going to have very high definition cameras, drones,
Yeah.
and software, machine learning, which is going to help us manage quality, especially in construction.
Yes.
Because some of these things are really hard to probably manage even by in terms of human intervention.
Right.
So machines are going to make our jobs easier.
True.
I wanted to ask you, in your 20 years of experience, what are these quality strategies apart from now new technologies in AI? What are the other quality strategies that you have evolved with or worked upon?
So for the governance part is very important. Any organization to drive the quality.
Okay.
So governance has to have a better understanding what we need to do, and is it like helping our key business factors, because we are into the business if quality product is being delivered. Otherwise we will nowhere in the business.
Yes.
Even if you, not only in the construction industry or data center industry, you can check with any industry how customer, because of the service of the quality or the product quality, people started running away from that organization.
That's right. Yes.
So here the differentiator is the governance part, and how we are adaptable on learning. Sometimes people feel that there are organizations which I really feel proud that these organizations, they always into the continual improvement. And that organization, I have seen that even if they do not make a business, but at least they maintain their brand image. So same goes with any organization. If at all, if they want to drive the quality, so they have to be adaptable on lesson learns, how the new technology, or if those technology can be implemented and can be utilized in their respective. So technology is not, I'm talking about the digitalization technology, any technology, sort of technology, like I was talking about the liquid cooling. If it is successful, then it is going to be a huge differentiator in data center.
Yes.
So likewise, there are many other technologies, like there are inputs which we are getting from the industrial electrical, industrial cooling system, industrial or construction technology for that matter, because we are into the mission critical projects. So for us, delivering the project within 8 months and 12 months with quality and safety, that is another challenge. Unlike other industry, what happens, their projects are meant for 7 years, 5 years timeline, and they have a huge they have their own challenges, but still they have a huge time to cater or cover up their part. But in data center, delivering the project, like we were discussing, and that is also one of the challenge which our management also taken, and really hats off, because the kind of aggression and the dynamic approach what they have decided to take. There would be a certain project which will have to deliver in 1 or 2 months. Once our infrastructure is ready, like in the data center, which I missed out to mention, that we say that that infrastructure is meant for 50 megawatt. Then we initially deliver 10 megawatt and balance 40 megawatt. The infrastructure is ready, but how that data center or data hall, how we can make ready with the testing and commissioning. So that when we looked at the project schedule, and we realized that we have to deliver in alternate month. So that was really challenging for our project management team, and taking all the stakeholder in place, right from the design, techno-commercial, then project management team, then quality, safety, all stakeholder coming together and managing the show. That is something I think in coming years or coming months, or rather, you will definitely see there is a complete changeover of thinking how the project to be delivered.
All right. So in all this sort of this scenario or this ecosystem of having all the stakeholders on board in terms of quality and safety, what is the role also going ahead of say third-party auditors like CQRA?
Yeah. So it very good question, because I'll tell you, see, third party auditor or agency, what happens, we have to respect their role, what they are playing on the ground, because they are all the way coming from the fresh idea. Second, they are also catering to many business units and many industry. They may also bring value proposition to our project. What what they see and what we see, because our empire is very limited empire, that we know that this is the boundary and this is the data center of X location.
And you're operating within that.
Exactly. But what's happening around the world or many other industry, so that third party agency will bring that value proposition. Okay, I saw these practices in that industry, why can't you do this? So there will be a simplest way of solving this problem with the help of third party agency. The second is, management always look at third party agency as a their eyes and ears. So eyes and ears is nothing but how they, during assessment, how they can bring where we need to improve on, because our internal team with their honest feedback and transparency, still we feel that there is a gap of communication, and then what product reflected on the ground and what we talk, there is a hell lot of difference. So third party agency coming in picture and then telling that yes, this is something like area of improvements, these are the good things what you are following, and these are the things which I feel that can impact your business. And these three aspects when they talk, so it becomes very eye opening interaction for our management as well. So very very important, I would say, every organization, whether it is EPC or developer organization, they should have third party agency. And Adani Connect has started without any commitment to customer. Over and above, there is a commitment from customer, from Adani Connect to customer, and we also deployed full time quality resources on the ground, third party quality resources on the ground, so that they are not biased and they are working as an independent authority on the ground.
Yeah, that's really well said. The eyes and the ears of the organization. So that's very pertinent as such.
Yes.
I also wanted to know about the cost of quality, because that's always an issue with companies. Whenever anything is being built, with the residential, commercial infrastructure, the cost factor is always kind of a pain point, or how to maximize on it. How do we kind of tackle this issue when it comes to quality and safety, paying attention to those aspects and cost?
Yeah, very good question. I'll tell you. See, I think this is the area where I think the organization and the owner of that organization, they should realize, because they see only direct cost, they never see indirect cost. What I'm paying and what I'm getting. But for paying, how much effort they have put, and in return what they are getting. Let's say if my gross margin for that particular service it's 18%, and because of the cost of quality it is bringing 12%, straight away I lost 6%. And for 100 crore project there is a impact of 6 crore straight away, or thumb rule calculation. So people have to sensitize towards this cost of quality, as you rightly called out, because people generally get confused between cost of quality and cost of poor quality. So these are two different things. So cost of quality, this is something like we talk about the first time right culture. Whatever I'm going to do, how I'm ensuring it's get corrected or complied first time only. There is no rework. And then cost of poor quality comes if at all there is a deviation and now I need to correct it. Now there is a cost of poor quality because you are putting your efforts and your material and many other 4Ms into picture and correcting it and making again proper. And end of the day, what you get handicap structure. So it's very simple, right? It's like we always treat our structure like a human body. I have a bones. If it get fractured, and doctor suggests to have a plate, he has corrected it, but plate will remain there, right? But it will not act like same your natural body. Yeah. So same goes with the construction. That's the reason you might have seen, or I would, as a layman, I would like to give one very good example how we see our monuments and how we see our latest constructed buildings. If you see the age of the latest constructed building, those are claimed for 50, 60 years, but you can see that they get deteriorated in 30 years as well. If it is properly constructed, if it is not properly constructed, it can get collapsed in 10 years also. So same way, if you see our monuments, those are still there. Although they took their time to construct because of XYZ reason, but still those monuments are there from last 500 years and 600 years. So that makes difference because there was no quality department. There it was called as a craftsmanship. Every every craftsman used to come and construct that monument, and they used to take their time to construct. But since we are into the fast growing world, we do not have that time, and that's what happens with our structure and any, for that matter, any structure, whether it is metro, data center, any structure for that matter.
That's a very valid point that you made, that these ancient monuments are actually outlasting even something that has been built recently. So where are we in terms of quality? Construction or construction worldwide, but even other allied, say automobile or medical or things like that. So can you tell us some interesting sort of instances where we can pick up and really learn something about quality and how to manage all this from other industries?
Sure. So I think in your question there are like sub questions which I will touch upon one by one, but I'll touch upon first the data center, how it is complex in nature and why it is called as a mission critical. Mission critical is that it's nothing like our aviation or our defense or oil and gas. How we can construct, but maintaining that infrastructure is also important because that can lead to what you can say, the hazard or a disaster of that entire project.
Later on.
If it is not complied. So quality is nothing but the compliance or exceeding expectations. So sometimes people also get confused between the quality word, because quality is everywhere. The way I am talking to you, that is also quality, right? The way I am dressed up, that is also quality. Same way, when it comes to project, the quality, the first and foremost is compliance.
And it shows a certain intent.
Exactly.
Of what you sort of intend to do in
right.
particular work.
Right. Because that intent is very much covered in your design. So when any project comes, so designer put his thought, this is what the data center will look like, this is what the assembly, this is what the rack density and the services which will cater to this data center. So now how we understand that intent and execute and make that as a compliance and then deliver, and after deliver that should work, right? And that should work for the period what is been intended. It's not like it will work for 1 or 2 years and then later on again there will be downtime. No.
Yes.
So the first part is the complexity of the data center and meeting the intent or the meeting the requirement which is called out for the project specific. The second thing I want to touch upon, there is always gap between the customer satisfaction, which is like meeting the customer expectations, and customer delight. So what happens? So these are two different words which can actually change the meaning and requirement. One of the example, like we were discussing offline, that gold, right? Now you want to buy a gold, and gold is available in 22 carat and 24 carat as well. And in 24 carat there is a hallmark gold as well, which decide the purity. The same goes with the project. Now, if your requirement is a 22 carat, why you will get the hallmark 24 carat? You will not get that. It has to be called out in that specification. So project also this goes with same. If it is part of the project specification and requirement, obviously it will get delivered. But if someone is expecting, no, this particular activity would have been done better, much better than this. Yes, it can be done, but it requires cost and time. So that aspect, how quality or compliance should get linked with the cost and time, that is also important. The second part in the quality is the expectations. Yes, there are certain expectations, like whenever you are traveling in the flight, let's say you have order online food, and it's a sandwich, but now the crew member is giving sandwich with coke, although it was not part of your requirement, but they are offering you. So that is something like it is exceeding expectation. So same way, whatever ways and means possible, if we can meet those requirements, it will not have an impact on the cost and time, but it can be done. There is no harm. It can be done, and that is what the exceeding expectation. And why I'm intentionally took this time to explain, because people always get confused between the quality and the delight factor, the satisfaction and the delight factor. Now coming back to your previous question, how this is ensured in the data center. I'll tell you, nowadays I am from the civil engineering background, but I am still survived in the data center. As I mentioned, data center is an electromechanical industry, but being a civil engineer, I am still survived because when I look at each and every activity of the data center, I look at from the engineering aspect, whether it is electrical, mechanical, in mechanical HVAC, or whether it is civil engineering, or even I have seen my colleagues who are from electrical background, but they will talk civil subject in a such a way that you will feel that this guy is a civil engineer or electrical engineer. So here in the data center, just we want to take people from their comfort zone and not say that I am from civil engineering, so I will only focus on the civil aspect of data center. No, there are two aspects, because when he has to deal with the civil engineering, there are a lot of MEP aspect comes in picture, and that he has to deal and at least familiar with that activity, so that he will not misuse that MEP activity. Same goes with the electrical people, that they should also understand what exactly the structure. Before breaking that structure for their conduiting purpose, they need to see whether it will have a structural integrity compromise or not. So from that point of view, in data center, we always say that we are neither civil engineer nor mechanical or electrical engineer. We are data center engineer.
So you need to be having a multidisciplinary
Yes,
approach
yes.
and even an understanding for that.
And for that, there are like institutes like Uptime Institute, sorry. Then we have a API. These are institute, and there are like organization who wants to develop this ecosystem and make everyone aware that when it comes to data center, how the seriousness of the activities really matters. And that has been already done and people are aware of it. There is a CDCP course, like Certified Data Center Professional course, which actually gives that high level understanding what is to be done. The third part, covering your third part, your question's third part is on the compliance. So the beauty of this, why there is a need of quality function at data center, because we cater construction, we cater structure, we cater architectural work like finishing all interior works. Then we also are responsible for MEPF activity. In that MEPF also there is a BMS system, building management system. In that also there is a extra low voltage management system, because once the data center goes live, no human beings are allowed to go inside frequently unless there is a downtime. So everything has to monitor on the platform, and they require, and it requires system like cat6 cables, sensors, many sensors which are like, even we I never use in real estate, like for water leak detection system there is a fuel leak detection system is different, and water leak detection system is there. So when it comes to technology, adaptability and implementation of the technology, that is something which I feel that data center is adopting and implementing, because they know that the importance of this technology and the activity, and that is where the quality role comes in picture. How we also ensure, when we go for inspection and testing, how we ensure that compliance is been done. And that's what I'm going to touch upon. The fourth aspect of your question is how it is ensured in entire project life cycle, right from the beginning and till the handing over of the project, and it goes for operation. So taking a reference of our testing and commissioning approach. So testing and commissioning approach, I have an input, that is equipments and material, and then I have a process that equipment and material gets installed, and then once it is installed, then it's integrated with all the system, and then once it is integrated, then we go for the functional performance checks or integrated system acceptance test, and then we declare yes, this space or premises is live for servers to start. Okay, now here the quality role comes in. Factory witness test, our quality team goes at the factory and ensure the health of the equipment, the intent of the equipment, whether it is met or not before it comes to site, that we check at the factory level. And that for that also, just to save our efforts, we have a integrated categorization plan. So what it means, like for there in project there will be a thousands of equipment. It's very difficult for us to do that inspection, right? Even for our contractors or their quality members and their, so we have a categorization plan which where we decide initially what are the equipments or what are the activities which we need to carry out as a inspection philosophy, and we decide those are having ABC category. A means contractor and customer representative will go there and they will witness. B means customer representative will not go there. Contractor has to go there and ensure that compliances. And C, there are certain product which doesn't require any inspection and witness. Based on the manufacturer's test certificate, it can be accepted. And then once that equipment or the material comes on site, then we place those at the respective location as per the drawing, and we connect low side. Like low side is nothing but, like let's say in MV switchgear is the equipment. Now MV switchgear, to power up we required cable, right? And that cable will, current will pass through the substation, or there will be a transformer which will pass the current, and through that cable, that MV switchgear or LV switchgear panel, it will get charged up, and that panel will further spread the current or power to the respective activities or respective areas. So this is the second part. The third part is more of there are certain quality or installation checks which we carry out, which is called as a performance checks of that activity. And the third part, which is called as a sequence of operation, or which we call it as a commissioning. So I don't know how many of you guys have heard about commissioning, but those commissioning is nothing but, now the compliance part is done. Now as a system, whether it is working or not, and that commissioning part comes in picture, and that also has a three aspect. One is site acceptance test. Third one is functional performance checks, which again talks about the sequence, whether each and every system is talking to each other and is performing well. And the fourth one is called as a sequence of operation. I would like to give, because some of the information which I'm like putting across the table may be like info, maybe actually going as a bouncer, but
Very technical. It could be for some.
so I just want to give you, as a layman, I just want to give an example. Let's say now here there is a light, right? And this light is connected to switch and there is a power. Now this light, now entire loop, if at all, if it is to work, it has to work all the, like your, right from your light to your switchboard to your input. So that sequence of operation will ensure all the sequence. Once I switch on the button, how many seconds it has started and how it has light up. So that is something like we check in the sequence of operation. The fifth one, which is very, very important for the data center, is an integrated system acceptance test. So one of the example, like today we are sitting here. So light is on, AC is on, your monitor is on. Okay, there is no noise from the background. Everything is there, and there is one test which we call it the room integrity test. So that room integrity test means that particular space should have a consistent temperature. It should not go beyond the acceptable limit. If it goes beyond acceptable limit, there will be a condensation. If it goes less than that, there will be heat generation in the server, and server can directly break down. So why I'm telling all this checks and balance, which is rigorous. Although I try to brief this in this forum in the interest of time, but it's a very rigorous, and it has to comply each and every step. If we miss out any single step, obviously in the subsequent activity, you will automatically get pop-up saying that there is some mistake in the backend. And that's the beauty of data center, and the importance of the quality and the commissioning importance of the quality and commissioning team, because their efforts is going to be a deciding factor that entire system is in place and those are working and those are in a healthy condition.
Yeah, because all this that you said right now, it is a very complicated in a sense. But I think if all the procedures are followed one by one, the entire checklist is followed by the engineers. I think it is a very sort of systematic process as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. One is checklist, and another one is there are certain during the testing or inspection you may come across certain challenges. So that person has to be conscious enough to take a call at his level whether he can address or not. If at all, if he is not able to address, he has to pass on to the vendor and OEM who are like product expert of their of that system. So that is something like we always, even for we have a commissioning authority, we have a third party quality. So they always seek response from the vendor and OEM what they say, because that product belongs to them.
Yes, that's really important. What the vendor
Yeah.
Actually has to say about the entire process.
True. True.
We are here at CQRA also very interested in how quality works at different levels.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about how one can take lessons from different aspects. So, if you could just tell us, that interesting anecdote that you just mentioned earlier about, I think it was Ferrari, and about a doctor taking inspiration from that. It would be like an interesting thing to kind of learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I'll tell you, I take pride in this because I have been associated with some of the organization who taught me this approach, and it can be implemented in your professional life and personal life as well. And there are certain initiatives which we had implemented, and which we have been implementing on the ground as on today, and it's giving a result as well. I think one of your question you were talking about how we measure. So we have a measurable parameters. It's not that quality team is there. Obviously we have to justify the return over investment of the quality, right? There is a quality engineer, there is a tools, there is a time and efforts goes in. So what is that return over investment what we are putting it, whether it is tangible or intangible? So this is also linked with those examples. Like there are certain challenges as an industry we may be facing, but there could be a simple solution to that challenge which other industry is following. And that's what I gave one example, which is readily available on YouTube and many other forum, that how the doctor has seen this F1 formula race and understood how it can help him to conduct hernia operation, because hernia operation also it requires a lot of tools, and those tools have to be given in that turnaround time so that he can plug and play that operation requirement, and it can make successful. If any delay, it's not about expertise, any delay to attempt that can lead to consequential impact on the human life. So same goes with us in our data center also. What we did, which I was talking about, our we have a task forces, and some of the initiatives what we have taken is like 360-degree camera and AI. So these, like there is one organization, I don't know whether I can take a name. So IBM is having a AI tool which they have already used for construction to identify the defects, and specifically for the bridges, because for bridges there are a lot of piers which is almost tallest, where you as an individual you can't go. Even if you go, it's very difficult for you to inspect that.
And I think
So
that's critical because we are seeing a lot of failures in that front as well, in terms of
yeah,
bridges falling down and
correct.
things like that.
So that these kind of tools will help you to get real time defect and high critical defect. It's not like for aesthetic you have to do that. So we are in discussion with IBM team how we can bring that AI here. So this again we learn from industrial industry. So industry means, if you see in the manufacturing industry, they have a manufacturing line, right? And there, each and every line, there is a engineer and the frontline supervisor who take snap, and there is a reference snap. So once he take the snap, and there is a monitor, so that monitor will automatically detect, okay, this reference image and this actual image is matching. Now this is okay. So that individual person doesn't have to declare that this is okay, now this product has to go. System will automatically detect and say this is okay at that particular stage, now it has to move. Same way we have taken that learning or lesson learned from that organization, rather not lesson learned, rather it is more of a benchmarking and initiative what we have adopted in our data center. Same way we have initiated, and we are in discussion with many other partners who are into the digital aspect. The second which I did in my previous organization, which I would like to touch upon, there are two initiatives which we implemented. One is the hallmark. So hallmark, which we had taken a reference from our India BIS mark, which talk about the purity of the gold. And same way we had implemented how this hallmark can be claimed to the individual flat owner, that your flat, it is as per specification what had been committed during the project launch, or during the while selling the flat. And once you enter, this is the meeting, this is what we said and what you will get.
Okay.
So that,
It's really important for a customer because they're putting their
yeah, hard earned money.
hard-earned money in
Yeah.
it.
So that compliance will give that confidence to the flat owner. Yes, what organization committed and what is been delivered, it's meeting. But the delight factor is something that is like case to case, can be handled. And But that requires certain level of inspection. It's not like, okay, you want door, I gave door, now all done. You want Jaguar CP fittings, I have already provided Jaguar fittings, all done. No, but really that plumbing work, even if the Jaguar fitting is there, but is it leaking? Is it really functioning? Is it functioning with that required pressure? So that level of checks we used to do, and there used to like 1300 plus checkpoints only to assess that hallmark level and declare yes, this is meeting the individual flat hallmark level, and then we can issue the certificate. Or we can also like what we did, we also introduced one more system, like it's like a maker and checker concept. We are claiming that what we are doing is great, so what we did, we extended that to third party agency and asked them, boss, you also check with our protocol and and declare that whether what we are doing is correct or not. Certain flats also have been checked by them, and they also came up with the rating saying that yes, it is meeting the hallmark requirement or not. This is one initiative which I take a pride that I was part of that. The second initiative on the consequence framework. See, I would not say it happens in India only. It happens everywhere, because I interacted with many global engineers and management team. I realized that we always criticize Indian people and the way we work. So this consequence framework, why it had come in picture? Majority of the time, contractor takes the job, okay, because he's very eager and hungry to take that job. But when he realized, when he start executing, and when he realized that that is not actually getting the outcome, and it is actually loss, it will be loss for him. So he will try to cut corners, and that's what I realize, that they will compromise on the quality. They will try to cut corners, and because that is quality and safety, these are the two areas where they will compromise, and they will say that okay, I have completed, but what exactly they have completed, nobody knows. So what we did, and there are like n number of excuses which contractor used to come saying that no, why I will not do it. It was not part of my specification. It was not part of my contract. It was part of contract, but I'm having a lot of difficulties to implement. So
Quality kind of varies for people, right? It's like on a scale of 1 to 10. So
yeah.
what is working for me, it may not work for the contractor. Or he thinks this is okay, you know, what's your problem?
Correct. And see, in India, you will find hardly any contractor who are committed to their job. Majority of the contractor, either they did not do proper homework to before taking that job, or they are very excited to take that job, and then eventually suffer the project. So in that, what I feel that eventually quality get compromised. Product will be delivered, no doubt, but quality get compromised. So how we can have one barrier to that, and that's what we did. Like I was watching, even I'm very fan of football matches, and while watching I realized that why can't we bring this red and yellow card system for consequence framework. Because in football, if that player attempt a mistake or blunder, or intentionally he does or unknowingly he does, so referee gives two yellow card, and then he should go. If something abruptly happens which is not at all tolerable, so red card being issued. So this kind of initiative, why we had implemented, just to sensitize. It's not like scaring them, it's sensitizing them. See, we have a tool which, if you do good job, we will incentive, we will provide you the incentive, but and reward and recognition. But if you do not comply the requirement, or you will try to cut corners, then this consequence framework will come in picture, and obviously we will give you the warning that okay, in this area, you did this blunder, we issued the flash report, we issued the temporary stop work notice, we issued the critical NCs. These are the three tools, and if it is repetitive, then we will issue the yellow card.
Okay.
But there are certain activities, let's say he's intentionally doing that, and there is certain behavioral issue, and we know that if it is not complied, there could be chance of leakage, and because of the leakage there could be chance of safety hazard.
Right.
Then we immediately issue the red card. And red card, it's obviously then management takes action against individual person or organization, whether that person has to be kicked off, or that organization will not get repeat order. So that is something like it is given in detail in the guideline. So this is the initiative which I wanted to talk. Likewise, there will be a lot of initiatives which we can bring, because India and world, it's an ocean of information. It's more of like how we gather that information and implement. So that is something, it is up to an individual and organization. And that's what I said, that in the beginning, quality is now, it's not only individual quality team or a quality function job. It's a team job, and it has to be guided by the leadership. And obviously it's a bottom up approach. Why? Because majority of the work is being carried out by the workmen, and they do not understand quality. They, as long as they are getting a wages, they're happy. But how we sensitize, the way we sensitize on the safety part, like we say, if you do not do properly, then your hand may get cut, and then how you are going to work, and how you are going to survive your family. Same way, the quality also we mentioned, because there is a statistics in the Google that if the compliances, like quality of the work is not done properly, then how it can lead to the safety issue. Like you might have heard, like there is a bridge collapse, even on the road also you may see there is a lot of potholes, right?
Yes,
And
something new.
yeah, so potholes, now people only see that it's a shabby work of the contractor, but because of the pothole, lot of people, they are having a back pain issue.
Yes.
They are having some I even heard like the old age people, if they are going through this potholes, they will have a lot of nerve issue.
Yeah, very serious consequences in fact.
Exactly.
Actually, driving on those kind of roads.
So, and this is what how quality is linked to the safety. We always sensitize to our partners and employees, because how quality, you do not look at the quality as a quality word, you look at how it will have a consequential impact on the safety, and it will also take a cycle or return back to you, because it's not like I can throw some garbage on street, but you never know that you may get slip because of that garbage one fine day. So that is something like we try to sensitize, and that is our like prompt effort to create that awareness among other people.
So what I understand right now from everything you said is quality, and having that kind of thinking or an attitude towards quality is it's about ethos. It's about a culture that is imbibed.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, in this journey of yours, what has been your key takeaway, your key learnings about quality?
Yeah, so there are two types of learning. One is as a profession, which I can contribute to the project, and that is what my face value, that yes, there is a person who can take the quality culture at organization level and make that differentiator for the organization. And personal, obviously, there are certain skills which I also feel that these lesson learns will help me to groom me on the soft skills. There are certain technological implementation, and how I'm adaptable on a new technology like chat gpt. People say that chat gpt can be disaster or can be useful. So like sometimes copying certain things also requires brain, right? So same goes with the chat gpt. There are very beautiful content which is you can easily frame and make it possible. So there are certain lesson learned on the project, specifically I would say on the technological aspect, because the way we are growing, we have to also think how innovative we can go. And there are certain innovative also things which I did in my previous organization and in this current organization as well. Like we are simply going with the prefabricated structure, whether it is pre-engineering building or precast building, because cast in situ takes a lot of time, and it is literally human interventions and lot of interfacing activities are involved. So hats off to our organization that they have that vision that how can we bring this technology into place. And this second, we, as I said, that we are 50% Adani and 50 H-Connex, so we have a flavor of global learning. I'm proud to say that, and it this credit goes to our CEO, that he had taken a commitment that every employee of Adani Connects will go for global exposure training, which happens in Europe. And like as on today, we covered almost 70% of our employees who had gone to global projects and see how it has been done there. And because of that, we could implement a lot of learnings here in our Adani Connects project, which is not known to many people.
So like a practical hands-on
Yes,
kind of
yes.
approach.
So one of the example I would say, which is very common, but I would definitely say, see, like for cable, we have a practice to tie this cable with the cable tie. There is a PVC, and we have a typical human mindset. Why should I spend more money just to tie the cable, right?
Okay, just
But
that.
yeah, but in Europe they do not have this practice. They have a truffle arrangement. There is a clamp which holds the cable, and why it is required? The very simple product, maybe little costly compared to cable tie, but this gives a complete qualitative compliances and even commissioning, smooth commissioning, so that there won't be any challenges. What happens, like majority of the time during construction, people carry out lot of activities. So during that activity, there could be chance of the cable may get disturbed, and that wall tie can hold the cable, but this stresses on the cable, it will not hold.
Yeah, it can cause it to move a little bit.
Exactly. So if you see, there is a thread, right? One end and another end. So if my both the ends are, because of some stresses, if it is get loosen up, that because of that gets loosened up, I will not have a proper termination, and that termination can lead to heat generation in the panel. And if that heat generation is more than required, that panel can blown up. So just see it to safety hazard.
Snowball into something
Yeah.
really big.
So these kind of things which we have implemented here, although there are certain areas we had taken a conscious call. Okay, we will only implement for vertical, not for horizontal, because of because it will not have a major impact on horizontal, but vertical and the bending radius part obviously. So there are a lot of initiatives, and this initiative, it's not like people are going there and they're just going there and coming up as a global exposure training. Our CEO and our management, they personally conduct this workshop. They ask all each and every individual employee who had gone there, they have to present what they learned and what are the learning they want to implement at their site. So this is one global learning what we implement. And second, what I told you, it's like a project learning or our learning from industries. So currently what's happening, right now we have 5 projects, and one project what we delivered, that is a Chennai project. So we took that learning from the Chennai and implemented in Hyderabad and Noida. Similarly, Noida and Hyderabad project is having their own learnings, and we are going to implement Pune as well as their own subsequent phases. So this is how our practice, and this is very very seriously taken by our management. It's not only implementing, is it really benefiting us or not? And we have a good amount of learning. The third, when I talk about the industry, see, it is very difficult that I need to go to industry player and ask what is your learning. There are certain confidentiality also, they will not disclose because they are also committed to end users. So many a times we hire people from different organization. So we ask them, what is your learning, what is as per your experience, what do you feel, how we can resolve this problem. So there is a brainstorming session, there is a task force discussion happens, and then there is a session called as a knowledge sharing session which happens weekly once, and there is a session called as a interfunctional lesson learned session. Like there are certain lessons from the project, and those lessons which needs to be catered or incorporated by the design team. So there is a specific lesson learned session happens between project and design team. There are certain lessons which is identified by the operation team, and they have let's say design lessons, they have a project specific lessons, they have certain operations. It is conveyed to the concerned stakeholder and discuss and deliberately taken a call that whether we can come up with the solution or this existing system can suffice our requirement. So likewise we have that, it's a very good system. In that also we felt that we have to encourage more and more participation, because whatever I am saying, that we are not claiming that we are 100% foolproof and perfect. There is a huge scope of improvement the way we are growing. Last but not the least, which one thing which I want to touch upon, that how we can leverage this expertise and experience to develop the ecosystem. And I think this we have seen there is a huge scope for improvement, and this helped us also in one of our project where we have gone for compliance certificate as per ISO 17020, and which is done by the CQRA. Since they got, I would like to also congratulate, because this certification is NABC accreditation certification, which requires it's their own assessment to be done, compliance to be done, and based on that they issue that certificate. And CQRA, why they obtained, because their team, what they have been doing with apart from the certification in this last 20 years, I could see that what they have been doing as a compliance part, and they deserve for this certification. And also credit goes to government that they are identifying such organization which really contributing to the accreditation body. That itself is a proud moment, because the customer like us or end user like us, it is really going to help. Because if I want to really say that what I'm doing is great, but someone has to come and assess that objective base, not on the assessment part that they will come up with the findings and come up with the improvement project. improvement area of improvements. But the compliance, yes, this rating, why it is 8 and why it is not 9, why it is not 7. So precisely why it is 8, that compliance part itself is self-explanatory and measurable, and that's what CQRA is doing. I think credit goes to entire CQRA team, and definitely I would suggest that they should also enhance that assessment system based on the current what other industry is doing, because there is also huge scope of work, and there is a people who should be competent and competent while assessing and providing that feedback, which I realized during our quarterly compliance assessment. Your team is competent, and their inputs, it's really value addition, and sometimes, as I said, it's eye opening for us to take from one layer to another layer. Again,
Thank you so much for being on the CQRA podcast. And it was hearing you talk about so many aspects. It was a huge learning experience for us and even for our listeners, because this is like a master class, I would say, in understanding the quality aspects of a data center, what all goes into it, the role of AI that you've spoken about, machine learnings, different processes, compliances, how do you deal with even the lowest rung in the construction, which is the workers, and kind of making them understand workmanship, to how the management should kind of train their engineers, send them to places where they can actually learn, like you spoke about your organization and practical hands-on approach. So it's been like a whole roller coaster. You've given us a whole overview, a perfect overview, I would say, of the entire industry, how it works. You've touched not only data centers but also the other aspects of infrastructure. So it was wonderful. It was a great listening experience. Just listening to you, and I hope our viewers had a great time listening to Mr. Jogdankar. And thank you again so much for taking the time out.
thank you so much, and it's my privilege to share my knowledge, whatever I have gathered from the industry. Thank you so much.